hear me all right?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Nancy Hood with East Bay Students for Peace, and I'm going to read you something that I wrote in March. This is after 15 years of holding vigils for peace and justice every month in downtown Bristol, ever since before the U.S. invaded Iraq. 15 years ago, East Bay Students for Peace organized a vigil of 100 people in snowy downtown Bristol to say no to a U.S.-led invasion of Iraq. Our nation was already engaged in a misguided war in Afghanistan. Among us were veterans, a former member of the State Department, and a retired war correspondent. We questioned the existence of weapons of mass destruction, urged United Nations inspections and diplomacy, and predicted if the U.S. invaded Iraq without justification or provocation, we would not only violate international law and set dangerous precedent, but risk catastrophic destabilization in the Middle East and horrific suffering. We were not alone. People around the country and the world protested going to war. Our pleas fell on deaf ears as our administration lied about weapons of mass destruction and terrorist threats and manipulated people's fears. They disguised their greed for power and oil with hollow words of patriotism. Congress fell in line, abdicating their responsibility to debate sending troops to war. With false promises of brief military intervention and claims that it would be welcomed by the Iraqi people, our government set up a disastrous path and ended the war and even suffered. Sadly, our worst fears have come to pass. March 19, 2018 will mark 15 years since the invasion of Iraq, where we still have 5,000 troops now fighting ISIS, and 16 and a half years in Afghanistan, where we have 15,000 troops. The cost, aside from the $5.7 trillion impact on our economy, Iraq is broken and the Middle East is destabilized. Afghanistan is still in chaos. At home, soldiers return with physical and moral injuries so unbearable that many commit suicide. Use of torture in Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo, imprisonment without due process, and untold wounded, dead, or displaced civilians have created refugee crises and more terrorists. Now there are terrorists in Iraq, Syria, and homegrown terrorists in our schools. And we wonder why. The U.S. has become a militaristic state with 800 military bases and military conflicts in 76 nations, with warmongering toward North Korea and no diplomacy. President Trump callously risks more catastrophic conflict. The U.S. spends 3 times more on military than all other NATO members combined. The Pentagon has allocated over 50% of our discretionary budget, much to the benefit of military contractors. Police forces armed with military equipment have gunned down unarmed innocent black men and women in our communities. The National Rifle Association, with its powerful lobby, has bought enough legislation that no reasonable gun control laws have been passed, despite mass shootings of school children with military-grade assault rifles. Meanwhile, we have a failed health system, roads and schools are crumbling, children go hungry, and the president wants to increase the Pentagon budget and make cuts to food stamps, Medicare, and Social Security. Martin Luther King warned, a nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs for social uplift is approaching spiritual doom. I say we're at that point, unless we do something, and it's wonderful to see people here. Yet, I am encouraged, I am heartened by courageous young survivors of the Parkland shooting and all the other young people that stood up against gun violence. And by Standing Rock, Black Lives Matter, Me Too movements, and the Poor People's Campaign, and all people standing up against injustice and hate. Imagine a national budget that reflects people's needs instead of in the unaudited Pentagon. Imagine government of the people, by the people, and for the people, instead of corporations. Imagine respect for all people and the planet. Imagine peace in our schools, our streets, and the world. John Lennon sang, "You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. And it's possible. I'd like to sing Stranger Street if we have time for that. And anyone who'd like to join me in singing the song, Last night I had the strangest dream I ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw a mighty throne filled with women and men, and the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again. And when the paper was all found and 1,000,000 copies made, they all joined hands and bowed their heads and grateful prayers were made. And the people in the streets below were dancing round and round, while swords and guns and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Last night I had a stranger's dream.